Sam Seder is the host of The Majority Report, a show that got its start in 2004 on Air America Radio, who's since expanded his show to YouTube and many radio stations. He's a Democrat who opposes Republicans, and in 2016, when Senator from Vermont Bernie Sanders announced his run for the Democratic nomination, supported him against his rival Hillary Clinton. But after a hard-fought primary that saw Clinton ultimately secure the nomination, Cedar found himself in a place he had already been in before. Just 4 years earlier, he had been arguing with callers and viewers of The Majority Report who were refusing to vote for Barack Obama because of his horrific use of drone strikes that resulted in casualties of innocent civilians, to which Sam Seder responded by saying he would vote for a candidate who wanted 7 concentration camps instead of 8.
Would you still vote for Obama if he promises to build fewer concentration camps than Romney? The answer is an unequivocal, absolute yes.
He argued for voting for the lesser of two evils in 2012 by advocating voting for Barack Obama over Mitt Romney, and he found himself in the same position now in 2016, but this time arguing for people to vote for Hillary Clinton over Donald Trump, saying that she is a lesser evil. On the other side of the spectrum is a man named Jimmy Dore, a political comedian who saw his rise in popularity follow his work at the Young Turks, a progressive news network founded by Cenk Uygur. He became a well-known host quickly, as many people enjoyed hearing his takes on politics. But his view on the situation was very different from Seder's. Instead of Seder's view that everybody should vote for Clinton over Trump, like he said people should vote for Obama over Romney, Dore believed that it was better not to vote for Trump or Clinton, and that a Trump presidency would be better than a Clinton presidency. Dore would have very fiery, heated, and passionate debates with his TYT colleagues, and it looked like Dore and Cedar were on the path for a debate. And they collided. After a couple of back and forths on Twitter, Jimmy Dore called into Sam Seder's show on September 22, 2016. In the beginning, the debate seemed to start out very friendly with the two exchanging jokes and some laughs, but it then went on to get quite confrontational. Sam Seder believed that Trump was worse than Clinton, mainly because of the Supreme Court, which would have potentially multiple vacancies, and that Trump would then be filling. Jimmy Dore countered by saying that the Democrats could just filibuster all of Trump's appointees to the Supreme Court like the Republicans did to Obama. But it turned out that Dore didn't see the nuclear options implementation coming, which made it numerically impossible for the Democrats to prevent confirmations of Trump's Supreme Court justices.
Meantime, we have a Supreme Court that is going to be moved to the right for generations. In the meantime,
I disagree with you on that. I mean, you haven't given me an argument that rebuts what I said. That the Democrats could easily filibuster any bad appointee, and they could say, hey, until you give us someone as good as Merrick Garland, we're going to keep filibustering this. And all we have to do is do it for 2 years. And my proof that they could do it is that the Republicans are doing it to a guy like Merrick Garland, who they already said they like, without batting an eye for a year. So I just disagree with you on this, Sam, on the Supreme Court. I just disagree.
And what about when Justice Breyer or Justice Ginsburg pass away or retire?
Yeah, I mean,
so they're going to filibuster. They're going to prevent 2 vacancies from being filled. And then you think, based on that in the context of American society as you know it, without a presidential election going on, that the Democrats are going to retake the Senate, even though they have twice as many people up for re-election.
Cedar also believed that Clinton was more left-wing than Trump on certain issues, such as climate change and social justice. Donald Trump, for example, claimed that climate change was a hoax created by the Chinese. Dore believed that Paul Ryan would not usher through any of Trump's legislation, and that the Republican Party would be completely fractured as a result of his victory. This did not seem to pan out, as Trump was able to get through the things that Paul Ryan supported, like the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017. Jimmy also did not seem to take into account the power of executive orders and executive authority in general.
The Senate, in my opinion, it would flip to Republican just because of, I agree with Chris Hayes when he says that if Donald Trump becomes president, it's the destruction of the Republican Party, and Paul Ryan is not going to usher any of his crazy policies through Congress. So they fracture in this.
Dore also stated he believed that Trump would, quote, be the most ineffective president, which was completely incorrect.
You think that Donald Trump can keep nominating maniacs to the Supreme Court who isn't a compromised judge? Why can't we force him to nominate a compromised judge? Why wouldn't we put the pressure on him? By the way, you act like
I would just say
scandals.
Thomas,
There will be constant
Alito,
scandals,
Roberts,
constant scandals surrounding Donald Trump. He will be the most ineffective president. This whole idea that somehow
Cedar, late in the debate, states that it is possible that Mitch McConnell will lower the vote threshold in the Senate to confirm a Supreme Court justice, also known as the nuclear option, which McConnell would end up doing to confirm Neil Gorsuch and Brett Kavanaugh.
the difference between me and you. And I think yours is complacent. It's establishment.
how do you know on day one?
thinking.
How do you know on day one,
It's
Mitch
fear.
McConnell? Wait a second. How do you know
Fear.
on day one, Mitch McConnell won't change the rules to get rid of the filibuster for Supreme Court justices?
Hey, how do you know on the first day Hillary won't bomb Syria with a nuclear weapon?
Well, all right.
How do you know?
I also don't know that the moon won't fall into the Lake Michigan.
Right.
But you know what?
know-
I mean, honestly, Jimmy, to make those analogies, I think is indicative, and people can judge for themselves. People can judge for themselves. If people think that it is so far-fetched that Mitch McConnell will take the next step and get rid of filibusters or change the threshold for filibusters for Supreme Court nominees so that Donald Trump can get his nominee through, is the same as Hillary Clinton sending a nuclear weapon to Syria. If people genuinely think the chances of those are the same, they can assess that.
Despite ending off the debate seemingly friendly, not long after it seemed that Jimmy Dore had completely ghosted Sam Seder. Jimmy Dore would decide to completely ignore Cedar, leaving him to continue to attack him without a response from Dore. For example, the Majority Report would upload a video called The Jimmy Dore Show: How Not to Respond to Sensible Political Messages from Democrats, in which Sam Seder laughs at Jimmy Dore for going on an angry tirade against Keith Ellison for telling progressives to, quote, buck up and continue fighting. This video had a largely negative reception, receiving only 576 likes to 1,100 dislikes. This would seem to end up being a trend for the future.
Now, I don't want to be too hard on Keith Ellison, but
Okay, so he doesn't want to be too hard on him. But that was at, what, minute 2? Let's see what happens 4 minutes later.
I'm telling you to shut up, get your head out of you're a loser, and so is the goddamn Democrats, and the whole country's going down the toilet because of people like you keep telling people like me to buck up. I'm telling you to buck up and fucking speak out against those corporate Democrats, and don't take their crumbs, because I ain't taking their crumbs. I'm asking you to buck up and be a man and stand up.
Look at all the corporate Democrats sitting behind Keith Ellison there. Look at, go back in there. He's pointing. Look at, don't take the look at all the corporate Democrats in that room.
Cedar would then go on to upload many videos in the future maligning Jimmy Dore, and the vast majority of them would have either 50-50 dislike ratios, or some of them even went into the negatives. There never seemed to get overall praise, and Jimmy Dore continued to ignore Sam Seder and the Majority Report. The reason why Jimmy Dore was able to ignore the Majority Report was because the Jimmy Dore Show was taking off. Jimmy Dore had just begun uploading to his YouTube channel seriously during the 2016 primaries, but he quickly, by the end of the 2016 election, had over 200,000 YouTube subscribers, while the Majority Report was lagging behind at under 150,000, despite having been uploading rigorously for a much longer time. Cedar seemed to be losing this battle in the eyes of people, as his subscriber count was lower, and he kept taking what was perceived as, quote, obsessive or petty shots at Jimmy Dore. On April 19, 2016, there was a video uploaded titled Hillary Clinton Needs to Earn Your Vote, Jimmy Dore Rant, to the Young Turks YouTube channel, which currently has 7,300 likes and 404 dislikes. This rant was extremely well received by the TYT audience, and this was the beginning of the rise of Jimmy Dore, and it showed that he would be a popular left-wing YouTuber in the future. He represented a movement of people who hate the Democratic establishment and that wanted to completely rebel against it, whereas Sam Seder had a much more fall in line and vote for the establishment candidate vibe. This was a core divide between the two. On December 4th, 2017, as a result of a smear attempt by right-winger Mike Cernovich, Sam Seder was fired by MSNBC because of a controversial tweet that was resurfaced. This is a moment for Sam Seder that skyrocketed his show and his career, as his subscriber count would jump for the foreseeable future. But as Winkle the Bernie Bro recapped, it seemed that Jimmy Dore was going to malign Sam Seder for getting fired, but that Jimmy instead skipped over it and did not speak about it. This seems to sum up the reluctance of Dore to speak about Cedar in any capacity.
On to how Jimmy Dore reacted. When I went to Jimmy Dore Show last night in Burbank, December 4th, Jimmy seemed to have the segment pegged up, that he was going to talk about it. Even, it was right near the beginning of the show, first half hour, he takes a look at Steph, who's to his right, he asks, should I do this story? Do you think I should do this story? I don't think I should do this story. You know what story I'm talking about? Steph looks, yes, I know. And no, you shouldn't. And he skipped right past it. Even people in the audience could see when he started skipping ahead that it was about Sam Seder. People go, oh, he's like, no, we're not going to talk about it. We're not going to talk about it. And kind of moved on. But then later in the night, just on an offhand remark, basically said, well, you know, this is just like some people we know who, you know, just goes to show you that when you kiss ass for the establishment and fall in line, that they'll just throw you under the bus at any opportunity they get. And that's what he gets. That was basically Jimmy's reaction to it. And basically, I agree with him wholeheartedly on that.
In a video titled Sam Seder Dives Deep on Steven Crowder, Sam Seder once again maligned Jimmy Dore for defending Steven Crowder when he used homophobic attacks against a gay political commentator named Carlos Maza. In this video, not only does he allege that Jimmy Dore went to people that Sam Seder was friends with to, quote, cry after debating Sam, but that he was also, quote, jettisoned from TYT for having too many crazy takes when it was believed that Jimmy left on his own terms, not because he was forced by TYT.
Kidding. Jimmy Dore cries like a little baby. And I know this for a fact. Because I know the people he cried to about it. When he was made to look stupid. And I didn't raise it because these people are mutual friends. But I had people talk to me. Jimmy's upset. He's upset because you made him look like an idiot. Well, I'm sorry. Jimmy?
Yeah.
Yeah, here's our old friend Jimmy Dore, who was so toxic they had to jettison him from TYT. Oh, no, I know he wanted to go tour. He wanted to go tour. Here he is.
On June 17, 2019, Jimmy Dore interviewed Caleb Kane, who was sucked out of the right-wing pipeline. In this interview, Caleb states that he watches, quote, Sam's show, referring to the Majority Report, to get his news. But in the official clip, this short bit where he says, quote, Sam's show is cut out. Cedar then reacted to this clip on his show, which is one of the few Jimmy Dore videos he created that was well received according to the like to dislike ratio.
But go back and just see this. I haven't seen this. Now, if it's not, no, what happened?
Yeah,
Go
so
back to the video.
we'll play the audio
that was
first.
Sam's tweet.
We'll play the audio before we play the video. How about that?
Okay.
It's a compilation comparing the video to the audio.
Oh, it's both. Oh,
Yeah.
you're kidding.
This is, the video to the audio. So we'll play the audio first and then go to the video.
Yeah.
I mean, usually if I'm going to watch the news, I either turn on your show, Sam's show, or the Young Turks. That's usually who I go to for news. Your show or the...
Oh, my God. He actually did do that.
Here's the full clip now.
I mean, usually if I'm going to watch the news, I either turn on your show or the Young Turks. That's usually who I go to for news. I mean, usually if I'm going to watch the news, I either turn on your show, Sam's show, or the Young Turks. That's usually who I go to for news. Your show or the Young Turks.
Oh, my God.
In Jimmy Dore's live stream, a couple of Cedar fans sent super chats to him asking why they cut his name, to which Jimmy responded that he doesn't allow guests to mention, quote, disingenuous haters, and he also makes fun of MSNBC contracts, a very clear reference to Sam Seder of the Majority Report. This seemed to be the closest we would get to a response from Jimmy Dore to Sam Seder.
Joseph Howard to censor all of his guests. Yes. How's that?
right?
Do I censor?
Yeah, do you censor your guests?
Oh yeah, definitely. They're not allowed to say anything I don't like.
I know.
What is that? How would I censor a guest?
Well, first off, I think people
We
don't.
do have a policy of the only thing we censor is we don't mention our disingenuous haters on our show. We don't. Red Baron says nothing more pathetic than having to cut the name. Yeah, I know, but nothing more funny though, right, Red Baron? It's
pretty funny, Red Baron.
nothing more funny,
Wait a
Red
minute,
Baron.
it should be. We should just say Red.
Nothing more funny. Can I tell you how hard we laughed at Abby Martin in the green room over this? We all laughed very hard.
We also laugh really hard at MSNBC contracts.
We also do.
That's pretty funny.
We also.
Oh my God! I really hope one day I get an MSNBC contract.
I need my MSNBC contract. That's how you know I'm a good YouTuber. I have an MSNBC contract.
In the year 2020, the Majority Report published a video reacting to Jimmy Dore's appearance on the Tucker Carlson show, in which Dore maligns both corporate Democrats and Republicans. This was likely the worst reception he has gotten on a Jimmy Dore video, partly because his reaction was very wrong, but also likely because Cedar shouted down his co-host, Jamie Peck, which many Majority Report viewers took issue with, as this is not the first time that he has done this.
That is the problem, is that it is completely disempowering.
Yeah.
I mean, is it the venue that primarily pisses you off? Would you be this angry if Noam Chomsky went on Tucker Carlson and said basically that same critique, which he's been making for decades?
No, it's the work, right? Like, we already talked about Bernie.
What?
I'm just
Would I have a problem if Noam Chomsky went on? I don't think that Noam Chomsky would let Tucker get away with all those lies. Do you? Do you think Noam Chomsky is so stupid that he doesn't know that the Democrats have a problem with carried interest?
Probably not.
Do you think that Noam Chomsky knows a little bit more than Jimmy Dore?
I would say that he
so
does.
What is? I don't have a problem with him. I said specifically at the beginning of this, I don't care that he goes on Tucker Carlson.
All right.
I said I agreed with what he said about Venezuela. We just spent an hour talking about the problems with the Democratic Party.
Okay.
So no, I wouldn't have a problem if Noam Chomsky went on Tucker Carlson and actually told Tucker Carlson to his face, "You're a propagandist." Tucker Carlson, who lied to the country about Iraq and then would go off and have a cigarette in the back room. I don't give about the Iraqis.
No, fair enough.
Yes. I will also say about that clip.
It seems to be the case that Sam Seder will continue to take shots at Jimmy Dore, while Dore will continue to ignore and not respond, and there seems to be no end to this feud in sight, as they have a core strategic disagreement.